but she may be.
Good morning. Welcome to JP and Dr. B. We're super excited. We're going to be talking about a taboo topic today. So you definitely want to tune in for some JP and Dr. B. So here's the team. All right, Kathy, help me out here.
Okay, so I'm here.
Kathy, I need you to help me figure out where we're at.
Looks. Hold on, let me put voice there and pull it up.
Are we getting everybody? Not getting everybody?
Dr. Clothier, can you scoot your chair over like you're in JP's area?
Oh, I don't think I'm allowed over there.
Yeah, what is that?
Sure. Yeah.
I get
Well,
paid large.
you're stuck over there. You're not making it back.
I get paid large sums of money to sit right there, buddy.
It's
I think.
You just remember that, sir.
Can you tell Shravius that the other
I don't
person's
know if she's here
at the front door?
Picking up, but
Another
If you
person
can
at the
scoot
front
over
door.
just a little more so we can get you fully in on Facebook Live.
are you here?
I can go.
Dude, you just got
Okay.
What?
Send them out.
You have a microphone. You just tell them the mic.
Well, because I don't have my headphones on.
Shravius, there's somebody at the front door.
What did I say? Try to scream? Hey!
So are we good right there? Can you catch everybody?
Yeah, I think we're going to be able to catch
So
you.
I'll get back over there, huh?
Yeah, I think we're good. I know.
Was you tell Shravius or somebody at the front door? You have a microphone. I don't.
I'm live.
So I'm looking over at Shravius going,
That's great.
Oh.
oh.
Now don't, no, you look all prancy doing that.
I was good at it, though.
That's prancy.
It was
You're a boy. Don't be prancy.
No, I was able to squeeze back there. Wouldn't
Yeah.
have been able to have done that.
I was thinking that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's what I
Actually,
was thinking.
same thing. So that's great.
Another 3 pounds this week.
Fantastic.
4 pounds the week before.
Is that right?
I plateau every 5 weeks. That's why I
Yeah,
don't lose
that's
anything.
about right.
But you know, I haven't gained a pound in 15 months.
Wow, that is so incredible. That is
Hello,
amazing.
I'm going to let you
Fantastic.
Good morning.
All right, we got 2
take
minutes.
this.
So the dog you
Right
sent me
here.
on is not coming.
He's calling.
And if
He's
y'all can,
calling.
He's in East
Yeah.
Texas.
Okay.
if you can
He's in
scoot,
East
scoot over
Texas.
just a little bit more.
Did you want some water back for you?
No, I'll be fine.
Okay.
And here,
Thank
I'll
you.
come in with you, and then I'm going to hand the mic, the other headset over to her, so I'll be off.
I just need earphones.
Because she's going to do most of the talking. But
I'm hoping Dr. Melnick's going to do the talking, but
Oh, that's all.
And you don't have his phone number?
I
Oh,
don't.
there we go. Hi, good morning.
Here you go. Hey,
Dr. Clothier, we're on the line.
Oh, very good. Good morning.
You're going to have to do all of the responding to Facebook Live.
I don't know if
Nice.
it'll let me. Can somebody hand me a headset, please?
Oops. Probably
All right.
not. No,
Here's the
probably
thing.
not.
This is just a
Thank
conversation.
you.
That's all we're doing. We're just chit-chatting, okay? Think of it being like we're around a fire right now, right? And we're just talking around the fire. It just so happens
It's
we've got
dangerous indoors here without chimney.
no ventilation. Yeah. We're just talking with our doctor here, you know, hey, we've got these breast implant thingies going on, and this is what's happening, and is that right, doctor? Kind of stuff, and breast implant issues. So it's it's that kind of thing.
Turn it off.
When you talk, you have to talk into the microphone.
Oh, okay.
You can't talk out here. So you got to be like here. So if you'll do me a favor, if you'll pull the mic to you and just talk to Shravius for a minute.
Test, 1, 2.
Okay. Sound looks good there. So who's going to be talking?
Mostly her. But Dr.
Stand by for
Millman,
everybody to put their headset on.
Dr. Millman,
Test, Shravius.
Hey, you're coming in with me, right, Kathy?
Yeah, I'm coming in with you, and then I'm gonna.
Hey, I need you to code this thing back in again. All right, here we go. Well, good morning. It is Monday morning, and it is time for your team. That's right, On Point with JP and Dr. B. Of course, Dr. B's not in on Mondays. I think we should call it, JP and Dr. C. What do you think, Kathy?
Dr. C, what?
What?
I
Dr.
agree.
C. I
Oh,
think
Dr.
so.
Clothier.
Dr. Clothier.
Dr. Norm Clothier, that's right.
Our expert and medical correspondent, our famous Dr. Norm Clothier with Family Healthcare Associates all over the Metroplex. Of course, his location is in Richardson off of Renner and the George Bush. But yeah, that's what you should call Mondays, because Dr. B is always off on Mondays. So, Dr. B, if you're listening out there, I think we just kicked you off the show on Mondays.
He's like, okay, because I like Mondays off.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't think we get much complaint.
So, folks, I'll tell you what, a lot going on out there in the big, bad world of politics, economics, and all the shebang and shaboodle, as Kathy would say. Donald Trump gearing up for the Republican National Convention. Kathy, I don't know if you saw this or not, but Greg Abbott looks like he may not be in attendance to the Republican National Convention.
Yeah, well, no, he was here in Dallas, and if we get a chance later, I'd love to talk about his remarks and how much he's stepped up. You were saying the other day you were looking for a leader that was going to step up at the national level. I've seen Governor Abbott on Fox and on several other shows, and he is really helping bring people together. And he impresses me, continues to impress me.
Now, I caught a headline, Kathy, that said that he was in an accident of some kind or something, and there was a fire involved, and that he may not be making the RNC.
Yeah, I was going to say, there may be a physical reason, and I had a couple of folks who called me about that, and I haven't vetted the full story, so I'd really hate to put anything out there unless we know for sure what the scoop is.
Well, and I don't. Like I said, I don't have my computer today. I left my computer, so I am computerless. If you're on Facebook Live and you're watching us, you can catch us at John Edward Payton there, and you can see what's going on in studio. And I see there's people already on. Good morning, everybody. I wish I had a device to be able to say hello back, but I don't have that.
You have your voice.
Well, thankfully so, because I definitely don't have a face for TV.
Yeah. Well, that's a very good point. Well said.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Well,
Reality
as my
is reality.
physician, I would expect you to know that already.
Well, I like to see people in person, not just on TV.
Well,
so,
true.
you know.
True, but that's a new thing now, though.
Yeah, that's
Medical
true.
iPads.
Yeah. And trying to get the electronic prescribing of medicine, at least teledoc type stuff is that's a whole different show for a different
Boy,
time.
it really is.
No
And it's
doubt.
something
And actually,
really
that
tackling.
I would love to tackle that because insurance is always sending stuff about that, and even Dr. Phil has some kind of doc on demand app. I'd love to know, is that legit, and how can they tell you what's wrong?
And we'll talk about much more another
I would
time.
love
But
to
the
hear about
problem
that.
is nothing replaces the face-to-face
Oh, absolutely.
confidential discussion and examination. And part of that problem is, or part of the issue is, they're trying to cut out the doctor from medical care essentially, and so I feel pretty strongly about that.
How is it medical care?
Yeah. If you can just call up and say, hey, I want antibiotics for this infection, and somebody on the other end says, okay, then that's not really medical care. You're right. There's no examination and no
That makes me nervous.
to that.
Yeah,
Right.
and if you have like an underlying medical problem that you don't tell them about, I don't know, that
Right.
it seems like to be all
Absolutely.
kinds of lawsuits waiting to happen.
Well, it's kind of like going to the grocery store. I refuse to use those little self-serve computer thingy-majiggers.
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
not good at them, but I do refuse
Oh,
on,
you've been
on
in front of me a
principle.
few times. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
but yeah.
But I do, though. I
Don't
refuse
like
to
True.
use them.
I mean, it makes sense.
I
So,
want to go through where there's a human.
Yeah.
I don't need a machine replacing a human. You want to make the human experience better? Fine, I'm good with that. I think technology is good. But to replace them, I just can't do that. I'd rather have that face-to-face communication anyway.
yes.
So, Kathy, the RNC is getting ready to kick off, and it looks like there's a lot of states that are holding prayer rallies and getting their delegates together to discuss what's going on. And I tell you, it's going to be an interesting RNC convention. I think this may be the most pivotal RNC convention launching into the general election as we get ready to go.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, lots of exciting opportunities for the Republicans to come together, and I'm looking for my party to do that.
Now, there's a lot of comments on Facebook Live, Kathy. Are you on there watching yet?
I am, yes. But
And
my
so-
comments are always delayed because it's like I've got your account up, but it doesn't come through for a couple of minutes. So
Well, also,
I'll
I'm
try
in
to
the
chime
room.
into some folks.
Yeah, and computers get very emotional around me, and I suspect that's interfering. Sorry.
It could be.
That.
Put your antenna back down. Folks, when we come back from the break, we're going to be talking about a very, very taboo topic, a topic that nobody seems to want to talk about or confront because they're told by their doctors that, hey, you know what? It's impossible you're sick from your breast implants. And we're going to tell you that's probably not the case. In fact, we've got folks in studio with us that are going to talk about that, and hopefully we have a doctor that is going to be speaking at the Dallas Conference on Breast Implant Illness coming up very, very soon here in July. In fact, I think next week, isn't that right?
Yes.
Absolutely, next week. So join us here in just a minute when we come back. We're your On Point team. In studio, we've got Dr. Norm Clothier. We've got Kathy in Riding Side Saddle.
Howdy, folks.
We've got Jackson in the Bubble.
No.
Oh, man. Are you really?
No, it's too early on a Monday.
Shut
Don't
it
do
down, as Kathy would say. So, folks, when we come back from the break, we're going to be discussing, does your breast implant really have the opportunity to cause you some further illnesses, or is it all a myth? Join us. We'll be right back with your On Point team with JP and Dr. B.
Okay.
Would you tell Dr. Clothier who all the players are for me, please, in this morning, so he knows who you're talking
Yeah,
to?
that'd be great.
Joy,
The
here's
players
this, and that's my
in the
code.
conference.
Okay.
Yeah, or just,
Yes.
you know, who we may be even talking with this
Melnick's
morning.
the only one that's going to be calling in.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Dr. Lee Cowden, you may know of him.
Is-
He was
Oh,
in
let me
Dallas
check.
at one
Is my
time.
face-
Oh, really?
what?
I don't.
Is my
He's
Facebook right here? Wait, that's the
an
code in
integrated
case you type
specialist
it
in
in.
Arizona who specializes in Lyme disease.
Hold on, Sheree. I got Kathy talking and you talking.
Oh,
What
yep.
now?
At the Environmental
It's-
Health Center
yep.
at Dallas.
Got it handled.
And then
Yeah.
there's
Sure
also
is.
called- These are
It was a very
two of the
technical
top,
issue. I handled up on
national
it.
explant surgeons.
Kathy,
Okay.
can they hear us on Facebook Live? Because I can't
And then
see
we
me. I
have,
don't have the. I'm like
the
writing.
Ask them, and I will tell you responses.
Can you hear us?
A lady from Canada. Who's
Well, people are
got
talking like a
systemic
ton. What are they
ALCL
saying?
From her implant.
You see,
Okay.
you guys, mine's, okay, now mine just
And
caught
I'm a
up.
nervous wreck, so I'm
Sure,
just
I
telling you.
understand.
Mine
I
just
said
caught
I'm
up.
a
Hold on.
nervous wreck, so I'm just telling you.
Oh, y'all are gonna do great.
This is
Y'all
just
are gonna do great.
Way out of my element.
Oh, they can hear
So
us.
what is your name? I didn't catch
My
it.
name's Jamie
Norm
Cook,
Clothier, so-
and this is
Okay.
Chandra.
Norm, I'm Chandra.
Chandra. Okay.
And
Can I have
Jamie
this one?
and Chandra, if y'all can each scoot over just a little baby bit more towards.
Are you
Dr.
the
Clothier.
shebang and the shaboodle action?
I'm pulling out my old choreography director.
I hope he calls.
Are you the shebang and the shaboodle? I don't know.
If not, I'll just ask you to kind of tell us why you're here. Tell us, you know, what you can, whatever you want to tell us. And
I'm gonna
then
let people
we'll
know
kinda
we
go
are
from
without our media person today. So
Yeah. Okay, Chip says he can hear. Thank you, Chip. Good morning.
hi, Chip. Person.
Think he's calling me.
I hope.
When's the last time you talked to him?
His secretary was supposed to text him like last night to remind him.
And then from 6:30 on, Kathy, we just need to be chatting about Dallas and what's going on. And all that.
Gotcha. No problem.
Latest deal down at DPD,
Yeah.
which was the bomb threat.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, because we were going to take. Well, I'll tell my story on the air about what we were going to do yesterday with the kids, which we obviously changed our minds.
I'm gonna take a picture.
He's not a Democrat. He's doing awesome, but he's not a Dem. No, he's not. No, he's not. As long as he's a voter and he has independent thoughts. And they're Republican thoughts, but anyways. A what now? I've been to North Carolina. I'm trying to think which cities I've been to there. Is that anywhere? Is that near Raleigh? Are you trying to go there or? Oh, how fun! Oh, yeah, very cool. Well, no, North Carolina is beautiful.
I think people are going down and up, but I think it's working.
Yeah, it seems to be. Yeah.
I think it's other folks' streams that go up and down because ours stays steady.
I think so. He's standby.
I think it's perfect to blame others.
It's what?
Perfect to blame other people.
Well, I think so
Yeah.
too. I mean,
That's-
hello, really? That's what the Japanese say.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. Actually, it's not. What they say
Well,
is don't place blame, find the solution.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
All right, I'm getting ready to turn it over to you. So
Okay.
it's about to be your whole show. All right, folks, welcome back to On Point with JP and Dr. B. I tell you what, I am super excited. We got Dr. Norm Clothier in studio. Good morning, Dr. Clothier.
Good morning.
We have got Kathy in Ride and Side Saddle.
Howdy, folks. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. We've got Jackson in the bubble. Oh, my goodness.
Well, I think that's
Shut
very
it
kind.
down,
Thank you very much.
Shravius. What?
I think that's very
I love
genuine.
you too, Shravius. Okay, that's the last time I worry about
Oh.
you in downtown Dallas on a Friday.
I said I just appreciate you being so genuine and friendly. Thank you. I take it at face value. I trust you.
I,
No problem.
Did you just
I'm
say-
honored to do so, Shravius.
did you just say you take that at face value? You trust him?
Of course I do. Why would I consider him a liar when he says good happy Monday?
Because he's copying me.
Oh,
He's trying to make fun of me
okay.
being all Texas and all.
You know, Dr. Clothier, we need to invite him to church.
Yes,
We need
absolutely.
to get him out to church on a Sunday morning.
Absolutely. That's right.
Oh my goodness gracious, folks! I'll tell you what, we are off the cork today. There's no doubt about that. We've also got Jamie in the studio with us. Jamie, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So tell everybody your name and who's with us this morning, and tell us a little bit about what we're getting ready to get started in, because Dr. Clothier is about to take over and really nail this thing down.
Okay. Well, my name is Jamie Cook. I'm from Princeton, and I'm here with Chandra D'Alessandro. She is one of the co-coordinators of the Dallas Conference on Breast Implant Illness that is being held next Saturday.
So, so Dr. Clothier, there's a big question we're posing today is, because they're doing this conference here on July the 16th, the question is, do breast implants cause illness?
Right. So we need to discuss from what perspective you come from, Jamie, in particular. Tell us what has led to the interest in this conference for you and what your situation is.
Okay, well, my personal story is I got breast augmentation in 1998 here in Dallas, and a couple of years after my augmentation, I developed Hashimoto's autoimmune thyroiditis, which was the first thing to start, the first symptom that I got. And then it went downhill from there. I developed chronic Epstein-Barr, swollen lymph nodes, low-grade fever, migraines, arm and hand numbness. The list just went on and on. And I was working as a paramedic at the time in an ER. I worked as a paramedic for 12 years. So I kept putting the symptoms off as work exposures that went doctor to doctor. Went to my general care doctor, my endocrinologist, my surgeon for the lymph nodes, referred to infectious disease, and no one could find any answer to my symptoms. So that's kind of where it started. One of my implants ruptured in 2012. They were 14 years old. And when I spoke to my Dallas surgeon, he mentioned 2 implant manufacturers that he'd used at that time. My records had been destroyed. I was not in a financial state to replace them at that point, so I started doing research and came across Dr. Susan Kolb, who's in Atlanta, and researched more about breast implant illness. And that's kind of where it started.
Sure.
Then I found Dr. Melmed, who's actually my Dallas explant surgeon. He's the surgeon I ended up using to remove my implants in August of last year. And majority of my symptoms, these strange symptoms that nobody could explain, are gone.
Is that right?
Yes.
So are you no longer in need of any thyroid medicine then, for
I am.
instance? Or?
I will still battle the Hashimoto's. My thyroid is almost completely atrophied. The chronic fatigue is still there, not near as bad as it was. What we call brain fog, which is a very common complaint among women, was probably the worst symptom that I had, and it went away immediately also. I would stand in the grocery aisle and stare at the food in front of me, and I could not process what I was doing. Being a paramedic, I felt led to read medical articles and radiological journals and not really Google a lot of the information. But prior to the surgery, it was very, very hard for me to comprehend what I was reading. So that in itself has really improved. And we are meeting women every day through social media about this topic that nobody really wants to address. But they're coming from everywhere.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
international women discussing this topic.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. You know, to look at the other side of that equation, which I think is fair for the sake of discussion, you know, there are those who would say, like, for instance, I see people with similar symptoms who have never had surgery, much less breast implants. So, and I noticed one of the speakers, you have Dr. Lee Cowden talking about silicone detox and Lyme correlation. You know, there are those of us who would say Lyme disease is caused by the organism Bordetella, Borrelia bordetella, and how does that correlate? What would be your thought on, you know, how do we explain people with these syndromes or diseases or issues who have not had breast implants?
I mean, I think that there's going to be the population that is susceptible to the autoimmune and to the connective tissue and to the Lyme. From what we have seen, there is potentially a genetic mutation, the MTHFR or the HLA gene, that Dr. Cole believes may play a part in why some women get sick and some women don't. So I'm not saying that every woman out there with breast implants is going to get sick.
Absolutely, and that's what I think that's the appropriate fair response, is that this is not a universal characteristic. And I do think it's very helpful if we can get to a source that, you know, can be identified. What we all like, obviously, from the medicine and the science standpoint, is something that will lead to the realization of what the cause is, rather than, you know, a breadth of symptoms, although I know you've had those, obviously, and I am glad you're doing better. The challenge I think we find, too, I think there's a natural tendency. In fact, we were talking off air briefly, or I overheard the comment of, that surgeons aren't really addressing the issues. And I would tend to say, you know, part of that, just from the medical side, is I think surgeons don't deal with medical issues. They deal with surgical issues.
Right.
And you know, that's part of the challenge, too.
Yes, and I agree with that. And so when plastic surgeons have remarked to our comments on social media, it's, well, we don't see that many patients come back with these types of complications. But my view on that is, I never would have thought, go back to your plastic surgeon and see if these issues have to do with your implants. In all my time and all my symptoms, that never crossed my mind. So I can see that they probably don't see a lot of those patients with symptoms, because we don't go to them. We go to every other doctor that we're referred to. And it's also not a defined illness.
Right.
It's symptoms.
That's why we need to find a genetic link or something that can really help.
So they're not going to say that these are linked to a specific illness, because it's not defined. It's a list of common symptoms among a large group of women. And the Mentor physician labeling packet, as an example, their memory gel actually says in the packet that these women may be more prone to these symptoms, even though it's not a defined illness. So
yeah, and that hits the next key question I would have. Back in 1998, when you were getting the implants, and I realize you may not remember the specifics, and but how much was talked to you about so-called informed consent, you know, in terms of the risk? For instance, I just happened to be looking at the FDA website just for the process, because I know it to be the case that you should always talk about relative risks and benefits. And the number one listing of any FDA implantable device for the breast is breast implants are not lifetime devices.
correct.
And it says literally, that's the first comment, the longer a woman has them, the greater the chances are that she will develop complications, some of which will require more surgery. Was that delineated to you back then?
I don't remember my surgeon discussing that with me, and what we hear from a lot of women is that they were told these will last you a lifetime. And you can get on even YouTube. 2 weeks ago, I shared a plastic surgeon's brand new video, and it's titled, when do I need to replace my implants? And he very clearly says these can last you a lifetime.
Well,
so they're doing a disservice to us by not informing us that these are not
full disclosure.
lifetime.
I mean, I guess
Right.
I'm sitting here thinking, even with medication that you take, I mean, you know, your doctor will go over an exhaustive list, and then when you go to the pharmacy, you've literally got this crib sheet of notes that say if this happens, this could be a severe reaction. And so I don't understand. This is introducing something foreign into your body. There's not some standard, and maybe Dr. Clothier, would you know this? I mean, even when you get like a knee replaced or a hip replaced, don't they give you information that says this foreign object put in your body could cause this?
Yes, I mean that's what is ethically the standard in medicine, is to discuss all risk and benefits, including death and disfigurement, and complications, including infection, pain, some of which can be fixable, some of which cannot, and that's all part of the informed process and informed consent process.
But it sounds like on breast implants, I mean, from what she's saying, 98, okay, maybe because it was a while back, but in 2016, she's saying she saw a YouTube video and there wasn't anything, like, y'all know the commercials that everybody sees on TV, and it talks about all the horrible side effects from antidepressant or anti-bipolar medication. I don't understand, when this is a foreign object that stays in your body, how they don't have to say all the disclosure stuff.
Well, and they do, and you should, the surgeon themselves is ethically bound to go over all that, and then to have you have a time period where you consider it, and it should be given to you in a written form, and then go over it. The problem is, and the problem with, maybe a YouTube advertisement or whatever was the source of the comment that they could last forever. The problem with advertising, and that's another ethical dilemma, you'll notice that doctors in general don't advertise. It basically is ophthalmic surgeons and now orthopedic surgeons with joint replacement, another foreign object in the body, as Kathy pointed out, and plastic surgeons. And beyond that, you really don't have, you don't have a family physician other than announcing their practices somewhere and they take care of people. I never do an ad that says, I can promise you something, or that there's, that I'm a better doctor than someone else or something, because that's not considered an ethical issue, and I wouldn't do that because I don't think that's true. I think that the care is only as good as the relationship, and part of the relationship with the surgeon needs to be informed consent about, the process. And I do, although that is ethically a requirement that we have consent with the patient directly, I know people who have gone, for instance, for a gastric surgery, well, gastric surgeons also advertise, I should mention, but who have never met their surgeon when they have their surgery. They've met the PA or the nurse practitioner, and that is a huge ethical dilemma itself. That causes Judge Payton to dance in the chair sometimes when I say that.
Quite a bit, actually. I get excited.
Is Dr. Melmed on the line? Did he
ever call in?
Contact him?
No, we never called in.
Well, we're hoping to interview him as well. I would suggest, from my viewpoint, I'm glad you're doing better, and I think that's fantastic. I think this is a point that needs to be discussed, but I think to me, from the medical standpoint, what we need to know as doctors is what you have had in your history. And I will say, I have women come in with implants who don't tell me, typically, of course. I think that any good clinician can tell. But it's interesting because sometimes I'll even ask, have you had any surgeries? And the answer will be no. And I'll say, have you had any cosmetic surgery? And they'll say, well, I've had some work done.
Right.
Sort of the euphemism for, I've had breast augmentation. Now, I think it's interesting that for some reason, even when talking to a doctor, that's not always mentioned. And I think it's very reasonable it should be. At the very least, someone with implants has had anesthesia and medical intervention. And, I think it is something where you need to realize it's not a lifetime device and not risk-free. And that's the duty of the surgeon to really inform the patient about that. Kathy?
And Dr. Clothier, Lindsay on Facebook is asking she said, how is a well-constructed silicone implant, which is not ruptured, harmful to a body? Doctors use silicone for a lot of other things more than just implants. So she's wondering, is this quite rare? Is this, how much of an epidemic is this? Or is this a rare situation, unique?
Yeah, to answer part of that, I would say it's not an epidemic because that has kind of a different implication to it of extremely common to a specific set of individuals. And so a non-ruptured implant, according to the FDA, has not been shown to cause a disease state to the body after 27 years now of a study ongoing, to review that. So, there absolutely are women who have had implants who do not have disease from the process. So I think it's, it's fair to mention that this is an individualistic issue. I would also mention that looking at Hashimoto's, for instance, or Lyme disease, or other, brain fog and other syndromes, I think there surely is some link we need to explore and discover so it can be determined and treated and maybe even tested beforehand. But I think there also are a number of people, men and women, with those syndromes that do not have any surgical history whatsoever, much less silicone or, any device in the body. And so that's what, needs to be discussed further and figured out.
All right, well, folks, we're getting ready to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little more about the conference and how you can plug in if you want to get more information. We're kind of sad that Dr. Malmood, right? Yeah, Malmood wasn't able to come on with us. He lives in East Texas and was going to try to call in. So hopefully everything's okay out there in East Texas. When we come back, again, we'll continue to talk a little bit about this. Then Kathy and I are going to take it off the rim. That's right.
What does that mean?
Off the rim. Oh, Kathy.
It's not even basketball season. What is that?
I thought you were making a tire swing.
Well.
A tire swing.
Okay. I was going to say, I thought maybe off the rim because we've got Dr. Clothier, who is a basketball coach amongst all of his other jobs out there.
So stay tuned. When we come back, we will be talking a little more, like I said, about the conference, and then Kathy and I are going to take it off the rim and go crazy here in the studio. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages.
Which is why I'm going to have to go on to work.
Good job. Y'all look good on
crazy.
Facebook.
No.
You did very well.
You
to
did
start
good.
that.
Yeah,
I was very
that's
concise.
bravo.
Oh, that's fine. It's a different environment for you. So.
Well, and Dr. Susan Caldwell addressed at the conference how there's what they call gel bleeds, and even after 3 months after implanting, they do show evidence that it does
The
bleed.
shell is
So it's not ruptured.
It's not
so
ruptured.
you wouldn't even know that it's leaking
But there is
inside of you?
There is
is
silicone
proof.
migration through a semi-permeable shell.
Well, then what do you do? Like, what do women do? What's their choice if you need breast reconstruction after a vasectomy or something?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying, I think that's the problem is we don't know why certain women get sick and
That's
other
what
women
I was
don't.
trying to get to.
There's
we need
got to
find
be
a link.
some sort
That's
of link
okay, then.
because that's what we get
You
a lot
maybe,
of
like,
backlash.
maybe there's a test you can do ahead of time that says, if you move forward with this, you're really not a candidate for this type of a procedure.
Exactly.
But,
Well,
okay.
there is warnings on the in the Mentor and Allergan pamphlets that say that not enough studies have been done when they're implanting women who already have like autoimmune and connective tissue disorders. But yes, as far as the non-ruptured implant, silicone gel bleed is documented. It's documented in the Turkish Society of Radiology. It's documented in the Mentor pamphlet that says that silicone can migrate through the shell.
I have 5 lymph nodes removed because I had silicone in my lymph nodes.
And
So-
there is
So not that
It does. I think it does happen.
And
I
then
think
we
we
have
need
to
to
address
determine why
also
some
the
and
women
not
with
others.
saline, the valves are faulty, and the saline.
But see,
is
I've always heard
leaking.
saline's safer than silicone.
It is if it remains intact, but unfortunately, there's a lot of women who the valves are faulty on, and they develop mold, and it
Are there
in
major
essence.
lawsuits over this stuff? I mean,
Nobody wants to
class B
take
lawsuits.
these lawsuits. Since the 90s,
Yeah,
nobody
because-
wants to. Nobody
Right,
wants to
the
push
original
this issue.
Dow.
Warning lawsuit.
Right.
But I mean,
That-
I should
they
have brought
ended
my
up failing
pictures.
on.
I've got them on Instagram. Anytime you want to look.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're women
I
in
do
our
think
groups.
though we got to see what the correlation is or the predilection because throughout the last 100 years we've known Hashimoto's, for instance, is 8 times more common in women than men for unclear reasons.
See, I haven't even heard
And
that,
that
what you're
predates.
talking about.
It's
That's
an
Yeah, that
autoimmune.
predates breast implants by
And I have
70 years.
Sjogren's.
Sjogren's. That's
Yeah.
what
Well, I
have.
can tell you that just a short, small informal poll across some of these groups, 250 women responded. I gave them the list of the autoimmune diseases
Yeah.
on the website, and
None of us had it.
82% developed autoimmune after their augmentation. Now, and if you look and consider the fact that if you polled women that do not have implants and that many people still respond to developing autoimmune, there's another 9% that had developed prior. That's 90% of that population that has an autoimmune disease, which in itself is very, very scary.
Yeah.
But the thing that gets me is that the surgeons come back and they say, well, all these studies have been done, but there truly has not been any 15 to 20 year long-term studies
No.
to follow.
I guess there's.
I was in a study. They never notified me.
They
Oh,
don't.
really?
No.
See, that's another huge
And my
important
Yes.
consent issue.
my plastic surgeon has lost my paperwork.
Kathy, what's going on on
and my
Facebook Live?
files.
Yeah, so.
We have lots of people commenting.
Yes,
I'm
everybody's
going to go on,
just
so sorry.
good stuff.
Thank you, Dr. Clover.
Oh, certainly.
And then,
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
It's
Good
nice
luck.
to meet
Oh,
you.
bye,
yes,
Dr.
it's
Clothier.
very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
take
Have a
care.
good week.
Enjoy your
And
show.
I vetted Greg out at story for after the next break.
So, Kathy, what's going on Facebook Live? I mean, I'm looking at paragraphs.
Let me see.
Oh my gosh.
Shut it down, Shravia. Stop
Oh.
singing. For those of you on Facebook Live, be happy. Shravia's
Yeah,
is
be happy you
singing
can't hear him.
because you're not driving in your car and listening.
He's destroying Blue Eyes. I don't know what's the rule.
You change the rules every week. No, no, no,
What is that?
no.
Your generation is like 21. Goggle it. What am I going to goggle? Am I going to goggle that Sharavius' generation made Frank Sinatra?
What?
You're 21.
Yeah, well, he's a little bit older than 21, but still, no.
Goggle.
No.
Goggle. I love that. Goggle. We need to come up with a new search engine called Goggle. That's funny. Well, I'll tell you, folks, we are in studio with Jamie Cook. I've got Kathy in riding side saddle this morning. Good
Howdy,
morning.
folks. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Got Jackson in the bubble. And so, Jamie, tell us a little bit more about the conference that's going on and how you can attend. Can anybody attend? Do you have to be a doctor? What's going on with all that?
Okay, well, the conference is next Saturday at Embassy Suites, Park Central in Dallas. We have tickets for sale on Eventbrite. They are $40, and it's for the whole day and lunch. Coming in to talk, we have several doctors. We've got Dr. Lee Cowden, who's an integrative medicine specialist in Arizona. He is going to talk about possible detox options and correlation to Lyme disease. Dr.
And detox after you've had implants removed?
After.
Okay. Can you do any of these prior if you're a woman who has implants and you're nervous about this, but you don't want to get them removed because they haven't ruptured or whatever? Is there anything you can do proactively, or is the detox only for after you've had them removed?
What I've heard, they mostly recommend after.
Okay. Okay.
But there's a lot of controversy between what doctors recommend detox and what doctors don't. Dr. Melmed does not push a detox protocol.
Okay.
So it's going to be nice to hear the different viewpoints in one room. Dr. Susan Kolb and Dr. Melmed are probably two of the top national surgeons for explant surgery.
Okay.
Dr. Melmed does not perform breast augmentation at all. He hasn't since 1993 because he's seen so many women come into his office with the same list of symptoms. So now he's probably close to 5,000 explant surgeries later.
An explant, so that's obviously removing the implant. And so there's even a name for that.
Yes.
Who knew that until today? I didn't know that until today. Did you know that, JP?
I did not know
I've
that.
never heard of that. Okay.
And
Makes sense, though.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting about that is the 2015 ASAPS statistics, or the number of cosmetic procedures that was done last year. In 2014, explant surgery was not on their list, and in 2015 it was the 10th ranked cosmetic surgical procedure. So I think that says a lot, that more women are opting to get their breast implants removed.
Well, I think that's far more sensitive than excavating.
Well, yeah, implant, explant, I mean, it's
You know.
catchy. Well, and then, okay, y'all both had breast implants removed. Young
Yes.
girls thinking about getting implants, what would your advice be to them?
My advice would be don't do it.
Okay.
Love your body,
Yep.
you know.
Love who you are with or without.
That's
big
my
breasts,
advice.
okay.
I have a 23-year-old, and I strongly.
You look good.
Oh, thank you.
I'm amongst very nice looking young women today. So you would tell your own daughter, absolutely no.
I would
Yeah.
say no.
Okay.
I just tell women, if people find me on Instagram, I can't tell you what choice to make. I can just say that make sure that you read page to page every piece of information that is given to you. Make sure you get the implant manufacturer book. Make sure you read, educate yourself.
Okay.
Because, I mean, even if you decide to go ahead and do it, if you do start showing symptoms that we all have shown, then you're way ahead of the game in comparison to where we were. Because some of us took years, 10 to 15 years to put the puzzle pieces together.
Well, and think of all of the symptoms you gained not knowing. So I mean, I'm very impressed, and I really admire the fact that y'all are helping educate the next generation, and that way they don't have to go through the same kind of hell that you went through not knowing. Because that's almost one of those things that you start thinking you're crazy. You're like,
You're
okay,
told
well,
you're crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, it's like
yeah,
being on a hamster wheel, you know?
yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah.
That's what I felt like.
Well, I'll tell you what, ladies, thank you so much for joining us. Again, tell them one more time where the conference is and how they can get in.
Okay, the conference is at Embassy Suites, Park Central on Saturday, July 16th. You can get tickets on Eventbrite for $40, and it does include your lunch.
All right, there you go. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for driving in this morning. I know
Thank you.
Princeton to here is early.
That's all right, it's worth it.
It's early.
Thank you for having us.
You betcha. Well,
Thank you for
Kathy, I'll
coming
tell you
in.
what, it's time to get off the rim on this deal. I mean, to tell
I
you.
still don't know what you mean by this. So
I know. I think it's exciting that you don't have a clue what I'm talking about. We're going to take care of it. Before we go there, though, I do want to talk to you about the governor of the state of Texas, just to let you know I have vetted the story.
Yeah, I did as well.
You know,
Yeah,
second
God bless
degree
him.
burns on his legs. There was some hot
It was
water.
from a scalding accident when he was in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the kind of leadership the man has, though. He said, you know what? It's time to get to Dallas. We
Yep.
just got the news. Load us up. We're going home from vacation. And he did that against doctors' orders. Doctors' orders were you need to stay put. Infection could set in. This would be a bad day. You do not need to be traveling. He said, my folks in Dallas need me. And he got back to Dallas as quickly as he could.
And like we talked about on Friday, we were looking for a leader to step up, JP. And I tell you what, that's leadership. He's putting his own health at risk.
Absolutely.
You know?
Extreme pain is what the press release is to the news in regards to that. So just want to say, you know what? Not a bad day. Thank you,
Yeah.
Governor Abbott,
Yeah,
for
hats
taking
off
care
to
of that.
Governor Abbott. We love him.
That's right. Well, Kathy, here's where I'm talking about getting off the rim.
Oh, no.
Yes, it's time. Can you believe that Washington, D.C., during the summertime will have anywhere between 4 to 4.4 million people visit it?
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah.
You believe
oh,
it?
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, I
Yeah.
can believe that. That was good. 'Cause that would be right. And can you believe that, I say that, I lied. 4 to 4.4 million people will visit the World War II Memorial.
Oh, my goodness.
My bad. That's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And so
That's impressive. I love that.
isn't that neat?
That's great news to hear.
Yeah, until you get people going swimming in the Veteran
What?
Memorial's Rainbow Pool.
Oh, please
yeah.
tell me you're making this up.
I'm not
This is
making this up.
horrible.
No, I couldn't make this up. I couldn't make this up. I'm reading an article
Oh,
that
good
came
night.
in and from FoxNews.com. Visitors to the WW2 Memorial in Washington, D.C. are trying to beat the heat by wading in its waters. A move a U.S. veteran says is disrespectful and that needs to stop. The memorial was constructed in 2004. People will dip their toes in, go wading, and go swimming in the fountain.
Are we barbarians?
Well,
I mean, this seriously, folks. This is, you know, we talk about respecting authority and respecting your elders and respecting history, and we've lost a generation on that.
Wow.
In what way, shape, or form? My parents would have smacked me upside the head if I would have done something like that. I'm almost 50, and they would still smack me upside the head if I did that.
yeah, you'd probably smack yourself upside the head if you did
Yeah.
that.
Oh
Well,
my gosh.
I'll tell you, 16 million people served in the U.S. Armed Forces, and over 400,000 died in World War II. And we're going to swim in their memorial. Veterans are outraged. They say this is not good. This summer, for whatever reason, it has become a real hot topic. And people are tired of people not honoring veterans and their sacrifice. And I get it. The Park Service says that, hey, we've got signs posted that say, honor your veterans, no waiting, coins damage fountain. And it's actually against the law. Did you know that, Kathy?
Well, yeah, I would imagine that because, I mean, they have signs like that at different memorial fountains around the country, but it sounds like people are ignoring it.
They're ignoring it, and the park rangers are not going to arrest anybody.
But it's illegal.
Well, it's an illegal, all right, but nobody is going to arrest anybody because they have the signs posted, Kathy. Yeah.
This starts down idiocracy path.
Yeah. If you want to read more on this, go to military.com. A reader named Charlie Lima, who described himself as a veteran, commented that waiting was disrespectful, albeit not hurtful, but disrespectful. And I think it is to the 400,000 people that died, including my grandfather, who was one of the 16 million that served in all the major fronts. And so, folks, use your brain. Let's not be the movie Idiocracy. It's bad enough that Doritos are almost our national food, and we're watering along with Gatorade anyway.
Yeah.
But now we're going to go swimming in a Veterans Memorial Pool. Seriously, pull your head
Boy, have a little
out
bit of
of the
respect. If you don't have self-respect,
cloud.
have respect for others who have gone before you and fought for the freedom for you to be part of idiocracy.
When we get back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit about Indiana and are the Republican pundits getting ready to make the same mistake they made years back. Ooh, what am I talking about? Join us when we come back. We're your On Point team with JP and Dr. B, Kathy and Ride and Side Saddle, and Jackson in the Bubble. Thank you. We'll be right back. You bet.
Good
luck
job,
with this.
ladies.
You're
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
what's your Instagram? Because I'm going to have my daughter
Yes.
go and check that out.
Mine's MJKT Cook, but you can do like hashtag breast implant illness.
And you see
there's-
stuff on Instagram and
There's
stuff.
so many.
Okay.
There's
Yeah,
thousands
her
of
send
women
that around to
in
her young
probably
girlfriends.
25, 30 groups on Facebook.
There's over 64
Yes,
support
64.
groups on Facebook now about.
Hey, Kathy, you want to look up Pence?
As in,
Mike Pence?
Mike Pence. Okay.
Yeah.
And then let's talk a little bit about Dallas. What happened? Are you doing birthdays?
No,
You
'cause I don't-
can't. Okay, let everybody know that
yeah, I can't
yeah.
access
If
my
he
phone.
happens to call in late, there's no way you can.
Yeah, it's way
He must
too
have
late.
forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, stinker.
We're way beyond now.
Well, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. It's so
welcome.
nice to meet all of y'all.
Thanks
so
for
nice
letting
to
me
meet
watch.
you. Oh my
Hey,
gosh, you bet.
Jamie, if I get ready
Thanks
to
for
launch
being
my
here.
campaign for state rep, I'm going to give you a call
All right, I'll back you.
because it'll be in your area.
You know I support you.
I know. I know.
So nice to
And I
meet you.
seriously
Best of luck to
consider it,
you.
You know I'll help you
I know. Thank you for that.
because I think very highly of you.
Thank you.
Wait, what? Now, I really liked her and respected her until I heard
Oh,
that.
shut it down.
Do you know how we met?
Uh-oh.
I was in the Coteville tornado relief. That's my hometown. So
Oh.
he was in the trenches week after week after
Oh.
week, really
Oh,
helping
yeah.
us.
With
So-
the students on service group?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
and we were helping feed them, and that was
Oh,
that was
that's
where
so
we met.
cool.
So he's a stand-up guy, and I'm really
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Very sweet,
He
Jamie.
is a
I'm
stand-up
very
guy.
supportive of
And
him.
it's so
Thank you.
nice to meet you, and best of
Oh,
luck to
do
you.
you guys know how to get back out?
yeah. I
Yes,
think
we
so.
do.
Just go out that door, hang a left, and go out that next door, and then go down to the lobby, hang a right, and it's right there.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah,
Good
very
luck at the
nice to
conference,
meet y'all.
okay?
Thank you so much.
You're
Y'all had
welcome.
fun shopping today. Yeah, it was a good
Now
time.
we got to figure out where we're going.
Thanks, Jamie.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
y'all.
Take care.
Bye.
Appreciate
Take care.
You moving over?
Yes.
All right, let's talk about Mike Pence as a VP running mate comparison to our good friend.
Can I have that chair instead?
Which one?
The one you're pushing over this
Yeah.
way, yeah.
Talk about the comparison to, you asked for the chair and I went blank. Bush's running mate.
Cheney?
No. Who was from Indiana?
Where are you talking about back in the day?
Yes.
Oh, you're talking about Quayle?
Yes.
Oh,
Danny
but the
Quayle.
original, Bush,
Bush Quayle.
Bush 41.
Yes. Because Dan was from Indiana.
Right.
And that didn't go so well.
And you know what?
It didn't.
Reagan's 11th commandment, thou shalt not speak ill of another Republican.
I'm not speaking ill of him. I'm telling you how the country responded. I'm not speaking ill of a Republican. Yes. Who? Quayle? Yeah. He was young. And I'm not going to talk poorly about him. I'm not going to talk about how he spelled potato or potato or tomato or tomato.
And I knew you were about to go there. And I want to make sure we talk about Dallas and what happened, because I've got a story about Sunday. We were in Dew. My family's freedom was taken away on Sunday.
Okay.
Y'all need to look up his. Can you hear me? Test.
Yeah, he can
Okay.
hear. Yeah, he's not.
No. Bush 43 just turned 70. His dad is in his 90s.
90s, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking Bush. Yeah, Bush 41.
Michael says thumbs up heart.
You've got my phone. So, are you getting my love texts?
I'm not looking. I know.
Shut it down.
I know. Shut it down. All right, folks, welcome back to On Point with JP and Dr. B. I tell you what, this is going to be the week of the conversation on breasts. I will tell you that.
What?
I knew Sharabias would really appreciate that after Norm's story.
I'm taking off then.
JP. Yeah, and it's also Chip Howell's favorite topic too, he said.
Oh, good night.
I can't help it.
Is Chip texting me?
He's texting you.
Okay, Chip, you are texting JP because he's got my phone.
Isn't that fun? I think it's fancy.
So if you say
fun.
anything inappropriate, he will put it out there.
I will put it out there. Very interesting. Yeah. What was it? Sexolific or something?
No. Oh my gosh. No, it was something I said to my husband after I said that I'm blessed to be married to my best friend, and I said, and you're very sexiful, and that was a joke. But that is because it is from a James Bond movie, and we're both big old James Bond fans. That's what it was from. It was a movie reference.
Yeah, sure.
That's legit. That's the truth.
Sorry, guys. I didn't cry on this one. You're welcome. In fact, Michael's chiming in now. I love having your phone.
Oh, no. Everybody stop texting me right now.
I'm the devious texter.
I know, and I'm afraid you're going to respond back.
I think we should do a segment every Friday. Kathy's phone.
Y'all would be so bored on my phone.
I don't know.
I mean, what you're going to find is that Friday night, because Shravius had to go to work in downtown Dallas, I was stalking his phone to make sure he was safe. My daughter was at a concert with her friends in Allen, and I was stalking her phone to make sure she was safe.
I'm seeing sexiful all over.
Oh, no, you're not.
I'm just saying.
Oh. I've lost control. Dr. B, please come back.
Right? Well, so what am I talking about? Why are we talking breasts this week? Well, Thursday we're going to have Cleo Marchese on, and she's been at a conference in San Antonio.
Breastfeeding.
That's right, on breastfeeding. And so we're going to knock it off the lid on controversy on breastfeeding.
Oh, I bet they had a big old
shebang
and,
there.
Well, with everything that's been in the news and all that kind of stuff.
It's getting ready to
I'd like to ask her about breastfeeding after implants. That's something I didn't get to ask the doctor when she was in here. I'm curious about that.
That would be interesting as well. But nonetheless, that's what we're doing on Thursday. You definitely want to stay tuned for that because it is going to be super, super controversial. I know Lindsay's going to want to hear that especially because Lindsay is.
She had some good questions also about the breast implants.
For that.
So.
Yeah.
Well, you don't. It's only if you've got an issue or if you want to have them what they call explanted.
Right.
So
if they're leaking or
normally I think, I mean, I've got friends who have had implants for years and years and years and no issues, you know, and never went back in for any other kind of surgery. So.
Well, folks, let's talk real quick about what's going on in Indiana and are Republicans making the best choices here? You know, the public spoke pretty unhighly of Dan Quayle during the Bush-Quayle run. Some folks think that he made some decisions and made some comments that probably came back to haunt that presidential campaign. I'll be honest with you, Kathy, I think what hurt the most was when George Bush said,
no
"Read
new
my
taxes."
lips, no new taxes. I mean, that was the killer on that campaign.
I would, if there was one thing, and plus he had a very energetic, very hardcore campaigning, gregarious individual running against him who ended up being Bill Clinton. You know, I've got to think, boy, sometime I'll tell my story about how I got involved in politics. Well, Hillary Clinton as First Lady was the first thing that scared the bejeebers out of me.
Well, if we don't run out of time, we're going to talk about Hillary Clinton and the waylay of disaster that she's leaving behind her after the FBI chickened out of being able to follow the law. I think it's funny, our highest national domestic law enforcement agency decided they weren't going to enforce the law after all. Of course, I'm sure that'll generate some kind of investigation of me. I'm kind of excited about that. Indiana Republicans are anticipating that Donald Trump will pick GOP Governor Mike Pence. Kathy, good decision? Bad decision?
You know what? I'm going to research him a little bit more because I've got friends on both sides. I've got friends who are so pumped about it, who have been sending me messages saying this guy is the greatest thing since sliced bread. He's going to be awesome. Pence.
Mike Pence from Indiana?
And but then I've also got friends who are like, this is the worst possible decision. He won't be a good campaigner. So I've got friends who are on both sides of the coin. I'd like to look a little bit more into him. I'm going to go back in the next couple of days. I'm going to be watching some YouTube videos and kind of see his style, his campaign style. Because again, it's not just that you need in today's society a good candidate on paper who has a good resume, who has a good voting record. You've got to be able to go out there and knock it out of the park as a campaigner. So you've got dual roles you need, because sometimes the person who's the best choice for the position isn't necessarily the best campaigner. So you've got to have both. You've got to have both. You know, I think it's important, and JP, I don't know if you've read anything about this. I would like to know from Donald Trump's standpoint why he feels like he would be a good fit. And again, not saying yay or nay at this point. What does he bring to the table that will complement Donald Trump? First of all, his agenda, and also his leadership style, because you want. A lot of times it's good if you've got, for a president and a vice president, or for people who are working together in leadership capacity, to have kind of a good yin and a yang, if you will, JP, like somebody who's, you've got strengths in certain areas, and then you bring somebody else to the table. And this is one of the reasons that I thought George W. Bush did a good job as a leader. He knew where his strengths were, but he also knew where his weaknesses were. And as a result, he chose leaders accordingly. So I'm curious, this may be what we're going to see Donald Trump doing. And I'd like to hear more than just his vice presidential pick. I want to know Secretary of State. I want to know the head of education, the head of healthcare, AG. I want to know a cabinet is what I'd love to know. I'd love him to reveal a team.
Well, and I'll be honest with you. You know, Donald Trump early on released some names in regards to U.S. Supreme Court nominees,
Yes,
and every one of them was a solid nominee.
Yeah.
I mean, every one of them. And I
Yeah.
firmly believe that Donald Trump will do a great job putting very, very good people around him.
He's done that as a businessman very successfully for decades.
Oh, you almost said sexophobia.
No, no.
I caught it.
Not in reference
Oh,
to the
yeah.
next president.
Kathy.
That would be disrespectful.
Kathy.
Gosh, it's because y'all are killing me. No, you guys are killing
we
me.
gotta skip that. I want to go there. I'll tell you what, folks. Get ready to be surprised. I think a lot of people were expecting Governor Christie to be the one that gets nominated out of New Jersey, and I think that's off the table. I don't know that that's
I think two folks from that region, they both kind of have that bull in a china shop kind of a personality. And again, you want somebody who's going to compliment you, who's not going to be the same. Now, you know what? I mean, I think there are several other leadership positions you might see Chris Christie put in.
Right, but
So-
not VP though.
Right.
And so I think Mike Pence is a fairly conservative choice on Trump's hand. Of course, again, a lot of people didn't know about Dan Quayle either.
Right.
And as the country got to know him, they didn't like him very much.
I liked him.
Well,
Okay.
I liked him too, but that's beside the point. They didn't get elected, and it didn't
People didn't
help.
agree with us? What?
I know, right? What?
What's that
What
all
were they
about?
thinking? Check out. Don't listen to us anymore. Now, moving on, let's talk a little bit about Dallas.
Yeah.
So, what happened with you this weekend in Dallas?
Well, unfortunately, we heard about the whole thing going on Saturday night, where there was a potential bomb threat, a potential shooter. There were all kinds of different things coming in right on the heels of such a horrific act. And I definitely, our prayers continue to go out to those families. And the more we learn about these guys, these 5 individuals, they were stellar, upstanding, heroic men, not only to their family, but to their community and their friends, and horrible losses that we've suffered. And I can't even imagine the pain their family and their Dallas police officer families going through. But we had talked about, Michael and I had talked about Sunday morning, instead of going to church, taking the kids down to Dallas Police Department headquarters and, putting out flowers and notes like other folks had done. And then all of a sudden Saturday night, they're on lockdown. They've got SWAT out, and so we're like, maybe it's a little too soon, but I think it's a real shame. Now, we did go to church and we lit candles for those fallen heroes, but it's a shame that we can't even close a chapter and start to heal because you have so much hate still out there in the world, JP, and that breaks my heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Breaks my heart.
It does mine as well. Well, folks, tomorrow we're going to talk about extremely carelessness and why it is that Hillary Clinton gets to dodge a bullet, but yet everybody in her aftermath is going to get fired from their job.
Yeah.
How is it we hold everybody else accountable except for Hillary? And for that matter, Bill, too. Very interesting tomorrow. Yeah, I'll tell you what. It's something else. Folks, tune in tomorrow for On Point with JP and Dr. B. We will see you tomorrow.
Goodbye.
You've got some text messages. I responded to a couple of them.
No. Oh, I'm very scared.
I was having big fat faces.
Oh, I'm very scared to see.
Oh, it's not that bad.
No, you did not.
I responded to chips.
You did? Oh, yes, you did. Folks can be like, does Kathy have...
Bye-bye, everybody. I will respond when I get to work and see everything. Thanks for tuning in.